Well, brothers, I hope you can all hear me out there. So here we are. And it's just Phil, lucky Phil, in the studio on his own today. As I said, I had hoped to have Jaden Wilson here with me, but he had something come up at the very last minute. And as great brothers, well, guys, we've got to learn to be flexible. So with all of that said, I wanted to talk to you guys about why did I found Saving Brothers in the first place? What's the journey all about? And why am I hoping that I can add some value to what it is that you are looking for in your lives? Guys, also, there is an opportunity for you to post any comments. So please, if you want to post any comments or you want to ask me any questions about why, anything a lot that relates to Saving Brothers, and in particular, I'm always keen to learn more from you guys because you educate me around the things that matter to you most. And as always, I talk about the hashtag Keep Five Alive, and that is very, very important to us. So, well, Saving Brothers, I'm a 54-year-old guy. My name's Philip Robison, and I'm your host, and I am the founder of Saving Brothers. And it really came to me as an idea. In effect, if you like, a concept around probably, November 2018. And Roscoe, always a pleasure to have you on as you would say, giddy up, fabulous. Absolutely. Roscoe's nickname for me is Fabulous. So, Roscoe, always a pleasure to have you with us here. So in November 2018, I actually was going through a fairly challenging time at that. That was my eldest son, Josh, was finishing year 12, and I had left my marriage in June 2018. And it would be fair to say I was fairly lost at that time. And I went to a seminar on the Gold Coast. I'd actually withdrawn from my business life in mortgage broking. Those that know me and those that don't, I was a mortgage broker for 19 years. So my background's really in finance and sales for many, many years. That said, I was always, I guess, a guy feeling somewhat unfulfilled. It was like this wasn't enough. There must be more to it. Is there more to it than just wanting to go out and earn a living? Am I just another capitalist? And others may or may not feel that way, but I can only say that that was how I felt. And I'd felt something quite hollow. I was a university dropout. I got into economics at Monash University. It was not really a course for me. I'd not really studied economics at school, but I did quite well in my final year of high school. And my dad, God bless him, bless his heart, cotton socks, I guess, had spoken to some friends and they suggested I do economics. And I think that's a reminder that the lesson in that is you've got to have faith and trust your own judgment and your own heart. I know Roscoe, who's on the call now, told me a story just the other week where he left school. He was at a good school in Melbourne, Australia, Haileybury College, and left ingloriously, you might say, but he had the balls, let's say, to trust his instincts and went out on his own, and in fact did extremely well in the area of sales and got multiple promotions. And that's, I would say, I didn't have the courage really back then. I was so probably afraid of my father and intimidated by him that I did what my father suggested. And I went and studied economics. And then within a matter of months, I dropped out of economics. I'd started various other degrees and ended up being a university dropout. I just never finished. So sales is where I turned to. And I was very good in sales. I made good money. And it was my way, I guess, of trying to make up for some of my lack because I felt inferior. I felt like a bit of a failure, really, because I never completed anything. And so my way of trying to validate my self-worth in my own mind was really around making money and comparing myself to others. And that said, that was fine for a while, but my sales would go up and down purely because my motivation would go up and down. So fast forward all these years, and eventually I got to, as I said, November 2018, where I'd sold my mortgage practice. And I got to a course through a group who were teaching digital marketing skills. And by then, I'd already dealt with prostate cancer at the age of 47. after the global financial crisis of 2008, 2009, I'd gone through some significant amounts of stress, financial stress. I had to find $40,000 Australian a month in fixed costs. For anybody that knows that, that's fine when you're making good money, but when your money starts to dry up and your income effectively drops 75%, as mine did overnight, let me tell you, that brings a lot of stress. And I've always said that stress ended up manifesting itself. Thank you. And guys, if you want to add any of your names, you don't have to come out, but if you want to add your name, there's a link that is available that should be in the chat. And in fact, I can post it here for you. You should be able to add that as well. But guys, the thing about this was that I wasn't that smart, but I really, if I can take the lesson away, was that if I had have been intuitive, if I had have listened to my gut instinct and my heart, perhaps some of the things that I did, some of the decisions I made could have been made significantly better. And so fast forward again back to 2018, and I'm doing this course around digital marketing. And what I came to really realize was that the things that I'd been doing, I felt very much like they weren't, well, they didn't mean anything. Whilst on the outside, I had a beautiful big home. I drove a nice convertible BMW. My wife had a nice Mercedes. I had a beach house. My kids went to grammar school. I traveled overseas. It all looked wonderful. But internally, I was extremely empty. I was devoid of purpose. And so this course that I went to on the Gold Coast, a 3-day course called the Brand Incubator, was an epiphany for me. I went there thinking, actually, guys, that I was going to become what I would say is a digital rock star, basically a guy that would sit in cafes, sit on beaches, and just effectively do what they call affiliate marketing, because that was what the course was teaching, how to build online businesses. And I started to realize that that wasn't necessarily all I wanted. And this 3-day course was around one of the keys of pinpointing your purpose. 25 people flew in from across the globe. The thing about that, I really did change as a man. And when you start to become very honest with yourself, I started to go within myself and realized that I was in a lot of pain. I was estranged from my 2 sons, who are now 21 and 19. When I say estranged, meaning I wasn't living with them. And as a father who has not lived with his boys since the 14th of June 2018, whilst I have I'd like to think, a decent relationship with my sons, I miss having my boys under my roof. They don't come and stay with me. They're young men. But for me as a father, and I know within Saving Brothers, we have a lot of men who are estranged from their children. Some don't speak to their children. Some have got toxic situations with their ex-partner or ex-wife who possibly poisons the children and make it very, very difficult for the men to have relationships with their kids. This is an extremely, extremely painful thing for us fellas. I can tell you guys, I went through a lot of depression, a huge amount of guilt. I was at that course on the Gold Coast sobbing in the toilets. And one of my brothers, his name is JJ, John Jackson from Texas, who was one of the facilitators at this course. He's become a lovely friend of mine. He's about 6'7", about the size of a bear. And he came up to me. And I'm just crying and crying and crying, guys, in the toilets, feeling so guilty because my ex-wife has effectively said, you know, the things that you've done, you know, you really have let your family down. You should be home here in Melbourne. Our son's doing his year 12 exams. And I felt awful. The guilt that I felt was just unpalpable. He just stood there and he hugged me and he just said, "I got you, fella. I got you." I was just inconsolable. I couldn't speak. That whole 3 days really, really, I can't explain, guys. It was just a life-changing moment. And at the final night dinner, we had a dinner of the 25 of us. And I'm talking about people that flew in from Portugal, USA, Ireland, New Zealand, other parts of Australia, USA, United Kingdom, all came together. Never even knew each other before this event. And I remember being at the dinner and I got up and spoke, and admittedly I'd had a few red wines, I will say, but I got up and it was like I had a real change in my my whole thinking. Some of you know me well enough, or some of you know enough about my story that, yes, I'm a prostate cancer survivor. Yes, I'm a divorcee. Yes, I don't live with my children, but I still love my boys and talk to them regularly. But I went to a good grammar school here in Melbourne, Australia. For those that don't know it, Trinity Grammar School. And since leaving school, 4 of my buddies have taken their lives, including my best mate, a guy called Cameron Downey. Cam was just an incredible athlete, good-looking rooster, played in the first football, if you know anything about Australian rules, from year 9. So when he was about 14, 15, he would have been. He won the all-schools hurdles, 110-metre hurdles. He played first tennis, and he was just an absolute champion man. I would suggest he was probably bipolar, but undiagnosed. So having left school, 4 of my friends have taken their lives. And that is, for me, a real motivator in trying to understand what is it about us men where we lose hope, where we get lost. We do, we get lost. And I was one of those guys. I can tell you guys, I'm very open and quite frank and forthright about these things. I used to lie in bed at night thinking, I wonder who would come to, or who will or will come to my funeral. What are these people? What will anybody say? Do you think they'll say anything nice? And at the end, I think, what will my life actually matter? Will anybody actually care when I'm gone? And I really did a lot of soul searching at that 3-day event. And I realized that my life was I was just another guy just trying to make money, but not creating anything whatsoever of any significance. I then am going to fast forward. I went to another conference in London. I was still very, very conflicted, dealing with a lot of feelings of guilt around. It was certainly in my mind that I felt that I'd abandoned my boys, and living with that pain and guilt, and particularly when you live on your own, as I do, can play some really big tricks on your mind. And when you're in a situation where you're dealing with people, particularly women, who are attacking you, it's really, really difficult to maintain a sense of balance and even to be able to step back and look after yourself. So I ended up, eventually I went to London. I went to San Diego for another digital marketing conference. I also went to Cape Town, and that was at October 2019. In fact, my last overseas trip. And I met a lady, Irene Webster, an absolutely beautiful woman who's part of this same digital marketing group, one of our mentors. And what she said was she knew that I was keen to do something with men, but quite frankly, I felt guilty. I'd been attacked by various men. Oh, Phil, you shouldn't try and help men. You might do more damage. You don't know anything about suicide. What if you cause problems? And I was feeling really conflicted for some time around that. And what Irene said to me, Phil, she said, Phil, just follow your heart. If you follow your heart, everything else will work itself out. And really, when I thought about that, just following my heart and listening in to my gut, my heart, my instincts, it was eventually a buddy of mine, Peter Sist, who gave me the idea of the name Saving Brothers. In fact, we were at a cricket dinner together, and the great Bill Lawry was meant to be scheduled to speak, and unfortunately his wife fell ill that very night, and so Bill wasn't able to speak, but David Park, and those that know Australian rules football, a famous Australian rules coach, got up and spoke. And I sat there next to my buddy Pete, and I said, Pete, it's like, mate, I don't know, I just feel like I want to save blokes. I want to save. He said, Phil, it's like you want to save brothers. I said, that's it, Pete. That's it. And that's where the name Saving Brothers came from. So for me, fast forward to around April last year, I made the decision. And for me, it was courageous because there were people that basically people who I thought were friends had been attacking me over the posts that I've been doing. I was doing live posts talking about men and helping men. But I've got to say, guys, a lot of it was actually to help myself. I'll be able to be very open and honest. It was actually quite cathartic for me because I was struggling. I was alone. I was really in a world of pain. And so talking about those things really was a form of therapy for myself. And so I happened to meet a fellow, Claudio Conte. Claudio is an incredible human being. And I was in a marketing group, a BNI, Business Network International, and he was the web developer, and he had a passion for men's health. And he and I just started talking one day, and I told him what I wanted to do. And so Claudio actually has helped me bring this platform to life. I couldn't have brought this thing to life, our baby to life, and what you see at savingbrothers.com without his guidance, his friendship, his mentoring. And so really, since, say, April, May last year, 2020, I've effectively been building this platform. And when I say building the platform, I've been engaging consultants in different countries to help build different parts of the platform. The idea really was about giving men access to tools and resources that could help them. And as we've said before, meet men wherever they are at in their lives. If it's drug addiction, if it's estranged from your children, depression, it could be that you're flying, but you're stale in your work. So you're looking for a peak performance coach. It might be like my very first interview with Carrie Martins, who's coming on board as one of our coaches. Carrie's done 100 Ironman distances, and I did an interview with Carrie in Cape Town. In fact, I should put the interview up for you guys to see it. It's a fantastic interview that talks about his journey. And in fact, he'd had a heart attack at 42, was a self-confessed couch potato, and then made the decision that no, he's going to turn his life around and help men get off the couch, including himself. So I wanted to create a space, a place where not only men could come and get information and resources. So I started to look for experts around the world in the different fields of 3 key pillars, guys: health, physical and mental health, self, and wealth. They are the 3 key areas. And what I've done is I've been connecting with people, and I'm very active in particular on LinkedIn, and that's where a lot of these people hang out. I also have a lot of people that approach me who want to get involved with becoming part of this movement that we're creating. It was interesting. One of my mentors, a lady in Wales, Jill Humphreys, she said, "Phil, do you realize what you're building is actually going to be an incredible place for women to come and get information to help the men in their lives?" In fact, guys, I don't know if you know, brothers, but women Google men's health more than men. Probably not surprising, because they're frustrated with the men in their lives, because perhaps in some instances they don't go to a doctor as often as they should. Many of you would have heard me say by now, "Oh, we tend to go to a doctor when our leg's about to fall off." And I'm being a little bit cheeky, but I do think we tend to fear going to a doctor in case they might tell us, "Oh my God, there's something wrong." But it was also a place that she said, "Phil, women are looking for information for their men." And in fact, Jackie McRae, who heads up our editorial, she said, when we started reaching out to people across the globe looking for guest editorial, they came back and said to Jackie, "You know, we think that this place at Saving Brothers will become a resource hub where men and women can come and get information for free, and not only get that information, but take it away and apply it to their own lives, their own situations and circumstances." And that's really humbling for me. It made me feel good that we're doing something of value. We're giving people a place like a resource hub where they can get information in the future. So then I started to think, gosh, wouldn't it be great if I could find people that could actually help our brothers by coaching them or working with them one-to-one? And I started to think back to the 3 key pillars of health, self, and wealth. And really, I've been on a journey, and that journey is evolving constantly and continuing. It's on a continuum, effectively, where I'm meeting on Zoom calls and having discussions with men and women who are experts in different areas of, be it counseling, could be psychotherapy, psychology, personal trauma, abuse, peak performance, workplace issues, all sorts of different types of people. And those people are starting to come through to Saving Brothers. And so when you go to the Saving Brothers website, or what I call the platform, and I call it a platform because you can actually, when you are a coach can log in and see what courses their students have been buying. The coaches can work with students, men, one-to-one or in groups. And they can actually set tasks for the men who are engaging them. We've even got dating. That's another area, dating. Goodness knows. I mean, a lot of us have got relationships that have either worked well, or maybe they're dysfunctional, or maybe we don't have a relationship at all, but would want one. So Alison, for example, she's one of our coaches, just joined us out of Canada. So the idea was be a place where men could get resources and engage professionals, also at a price that was cost effective for them. So we've designed our platform as well to have a place where men, you'll see on the platform at the tab at the top, says membership. Men can actually engage Saving Brothers and become members for $15 a month. Now that's 15 US a month. And with that, what we're bringing is access to courses. We provide a free course every month, either under health, self, or wealth. We provide a 5% discount of all courses. And we've also got a bunch of products coming. We've built an e-commerce store for you. So there'll be merchandise, Saving Brothers, things like the caps, hoodies, T-shirts, beanies. There'll be supplements, professional supplements that we've had recommended to us by people that we know, particularly people that we trust. And there's a lot of good history behind those in terms of the testing. There'll be not only supplements, there'll be educational resources, books that people can buy. So lots of things are coming in the store as well. One of the areas that I'm particularly excited about is the area of wealth. Money is a big stress for all men, I think. Yes, you can make a lot of money. And even when you make a lot of money, that can also bring stress. But for me, I can tell you personally, guys, I know what it's like to have a reasonable amount of money, but I know what it's like when I don't have money. And I also realize how the stress of when, what do they say? There's too much month at the end of the money. In other words, when the money runs out and you've got to find money to pay bills. And a lot of men, I think, are challenged and are challenging their traditional workplace roles and are seeking ways to make additional income. So we have brought on board some guys who I know personally, who I in fact studied with around digital marketing, and they have created an incredible online series of courses and coaching to help our brothers make money or additional revenue streams online. And when you can make money effectively while you sleep in multiple countries and be given a blueprint, a roadmap on how to do so based on what they've achieved, and you're literally following the bouncing ball, why wouldn't you want to have a look at that? And it's a very cost-effective solution. So I'm really, really excited about bringing that to you guys over the coming weeks. In fact, they'll start onboarding. In fact, we will start onboarding them over the next 1 to 2 weeks. We should have all their courses up online. And then these guys, you'll start to see them in Facebook. They'll be hosting podcasts just like all our other coaches. And the reason by the way, I set that system up where our coaches are going to start hosting podcasts, because they will be able to bring great information in their area of expertise. We don't want to just hear from me. These people are experts. I'm not the experts in their different genres, their different fields. I want them to open up our eyes to different conversations and discussions. And what you'll find is once we get this going, the podcast will be available here in the archive section of Saving Brothers under different topics, but they'll also be there available in Spotify and in Apple Play and other major platforms. So we're excited to be releasing that very, very shortly. Now, the app. Men do ask me, what's going on with the app? Well, the app's actually built. And in fact, brothers, if you went onto the Apple Store or into Android and you put in a search of Saving Brothers, you'll see that there's the app with my mug there. And that's actually ready to go, but we just have to still finalize some API integration. There are some key things we want it to do. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that the app does is actually, and I talk about the whole Keep 5 Alive, brothers, that is helping the 5 brothers. So effectively, you can invite 5 men on your phone for free. Now, The thing about men is we are like bloody slippery eels, I reckon, at times. We're good at nodding and saying we're going to do something, but we don't follow through. And I'm talking in particular around our health. If we commit and agree to be accountable to our own brothers, then that's really, really important that we then follow through. And the way we designed the app is, let's say you've got your 5 and you've got enabled the notifications. If one of the brothers, say, doesn't check in for 2 or 3 days, it sends the other brothers a notification that, hey, Frank here, or Bill or Roscoe or whoever it is, hasn't checked in. Now, do we need to reach out to him? You bet you do. You should reach out to him, because this is the thing. We know ourselves, brothers, well enough that many of us, when things aren't quite right or we're not having a good day, is we go into our cave. Women are quite the opposite. They want to talk about it. We withdraw. We go to the very back of the cave. We don't want to talk about it. So it's really, really important that a notification comes through to the other brothers and they can get on the phone or go and see him and always ask, hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10? Again, I never made that question up. But one of our other brothers in another group, 100 Words Mate to Mate, he made that up. In fact, he brought that to me, and I'm told it was a fellow in England that had created it. Regardless of who created it, it's a ripper. Hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10? So what we want is we want to create accountability, because we don't want to lose anybody. We just don't know. We are really good as imposters, I think, at masking things and burying. We're great actors, aren't we? You know, you can often ask a man, g'day, mate, how you going? I'm fine, I'm good, not bad. Yep, all good. Or, are you okay? Yep, I'm okay. Oh, okay. I asked the question and on we go. But that doesn't give us enough. It's a closed-ended question. An open-ended question such as, hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10, is incredibly powerful. And it enables that man to actually stop and think, hey, I've actually got to think about my reply, my response. Many of you know that I've said previously, I've had brothers across the globe say, mate, I'm probably a 1, I'm a 2. And you know what? As challenging as that is, and I've probably been there myself plenty of times, but at least we now know that something is going on in that man's mind and in his life. So what we want to be able to do, of course, is be able to say, well, brother, what's going on for you? I've always said we don't need to solve his problem. We just need to give him a safe space to share what's going on, to put down the load for a little bit. And then I follow up with this question. Well, when was the last time you had an 8 out of 10? And so on. Now, the thing is, easy to do, as Jim Rohn once said. If you don't know who Jim Rohn is, you should follow his philosophies. He was one of the mentors for Tony Robbins. Jim Rohn, spelled R-O-H-N. He's gone to God now, but he would say that's one of the mysteries of the mind. It's easy for us to do, but it's easy not to do. So we want to create this movement where we help 5 men, and we will then teach you how to pass the baton on effectively to the next 5 men, and so on, down to 11 levels of 244 million men. And that is the Saving Brothers legacy that we want to create to help men. Now, I do get asked by brothers, how can we become involved? Yes, you can become a member, and the benefits are there listed on the membership section on the tab, but you can become an ambassador. And one of the things I thought about was, imagine if we could create a business that helped other men around the world. And by truly helping and sharing, it gives men the opportunity to earn an income. And I designed it that there were 4, that's 5, keep 5 alive. Goodness me. I'm so used to that, by the way, guys. 4 revenue streams. I built this so that when somebody becomes an ambassador, and we have 3 levels, gold, silver, and bronze. Gold at 400 US a year, silver at 250 US, and bronze at 100. And you can actually move between the levels, guys. So how it works is, when you're an ambassador and you make a stand for Saving Brothers, and we teach you how to do it, so simple, and you invite somebody else who also says, I want to get involved here. I'd like to become a Saving Brothers ambassador. What do I need to do? It's, again, very easy, and we teach you. So revenue stream number one for you guys, in fact, is as an ambassador. If you invite somebody else to become an ambassador and they click on your link, so you've got your own unique link, that generates revenue for you by inviting that man to become an ambassador. So that's the first revenue stream. The second revenue stream is when, as an ambassador, you invite men who are members, and when they purchase courses, for example, you earn revenue because it's placed a cookie. And this is very common. They call it affiliate marketing, but we see these as becoming an ambassador. So regardless of what courses they purchase in the future, you earn revenue. Now, number three, when our brothers actually are members, you also earn revenue by introducing men to become members. And that's a recurring income, or what we call a residual income. That's revenue stream number three. And revenue stream number four for ambassadors, when we open up our store, probably in the next month, every time a man buys merchandise, any product in our store, because they originally came and were introduced to Saving Brothers via your link, you earn revenue. So now you've got 4 ways by helping brothers to earn revenue. And we're all about teaching men how to do that, and by helping genuinely other men. Because the key thing with Saving Brothers is helping men reclaim the sovereignty over their health. Now, in terms of future events and where we're headed with Saving Brothers, one, when the world is all safe and we're COVID-free, so to speak, and we can freely travel, we are going to run events across the globe. We will run mastermind events. I've been to a lot of these, so I've got a lot of experience in I've got great contacts in knowing how to put these events together. We'll run overnight events. We'll run events that go for several days. These are all about upskilling as brothers. So those things are coming in the future. The second thing, or what I call part 2 of Saving Brothers, which a lot of you don't know about, is called Saving Little Brothers. And that's part 2. So Saving Little Brothers is part of our legacy to help our sons, our boys in our lives, to get good role models, to learn resilience, to get good guidance, and to become good teenagers and ultimately good young men in our society around the globe. So they are the key things that I wanted to share with you today, guys. Always I'm available, so reach out if you've got any questions. My email is philip@savingbrothers.com. You can message me. Always open to questions. You can find me in the chats, in the Saving Brothers private Facebook group, or message me in Messenger. I'm always keen to learn about what it is that you would like us to bring to Saving Brothers and how we can help you guys get the things that you would like from us that hopefully will help the other brothers also move forward. So guys, look, thank you for your time today. Don't forget, look out for each other. Keep 5 alive. Always ask that question, hey brother, how's your day going out of 10? And if there's no questions today, all good. I'm looking forward to having our guest next week, which is Dr. Scott Zakinis. And I will be putting up some details around what his subject will be, but he's also written books, and he's an expert doctor, and particularly around men's issues, and he's based in Adelaide in Australia. So guys, looking forward to bringing Scott to you next week. In the meantime, guys, take care and bye for now.